Here we're going to solve an absolute value inequality. And let's identify what type it is right away. It is of the type absolute value of capital X, where capital X represents an expression containing little x. In other words, absolute value of the expression is less than the number c. Now here's the actual problem. Absolute value of 1/2 times x plus 1, close absolute value, is less than or equal to 2. So the steps we have to follow to solve an absolute value inequality. I want you to notice this is not just an absolute value equation. No, this is an absolute value inequality. First step is that we have to isolate the absolute value. Well, it's already isolated. It's alone on one side, on the left side, so that's done. Step 2, we need to eliminate the absolute value symbols, and since we have the less than type of inequality, we'll use the absolute value of capital X being less than c means negative c is less than or equal to capital X is less than or equal to positive c. Now you have to use this method whenever you have the absolute value less than or equal to the number c. Okay, so let's apply it to our absolute value less than or equal to 2. All right, so our absolute value is the same as the absolute value of 1/2 x plus 1 is less than or equal to 2. What does that mean? That means that the negative of 2 is less than or equal to, no absolute value bars here, 1/2 x plus 1 less than or equal to 2. All right, step 3, we're going to solve this inequality. Now, it's a compound inequality. It has 3 different regions. We're going to solve this by getting x alone in the middle. So the first thing we're going to do, working on the middle, is to eliminate the positive 1 that's being added there by subtracting it from all 3 regions. All 3 regions, subtract. Okay, and we get negative 3 less than or equal to 1/2 x less than or equal to 1. You see that's negative 2 minus 1 is negative 3. Bring down the less than or equal to symbol. 1/2 x plus 1 minus 1 is 1/2 x. Bring down the less than or equal to symbol. 2 minus 1 is 1. Okay, now let's get rid of the fractions by multiplying all 3 regions by the least common denominator 2. So 2 times negative 3 less than or equal to 2 times 1/2 times x less than or equal to 2 times 1. We get negative 6 less than or equal to x less than or equal to 2. Now we have isolated, in other words, simplified the absolute value, the compound inequality. So we can write our answer in the 3 notations. First, let's write it in set notation, then interval notation, then graph notation. Set notation, curly set bracket, all real values x such that negative 6 is less than or equal to x is less than or equal to 2. We always write our inequalities that are compound with the smallest number on the left, the larger number on the right. The symbols are always pointing in the less than direction, and the variable is in the middle. Now, how do we write that in interval notation? Well, the smallest value listed there is negative 6, comma, and the largest value is 2. And they both have equal portions in their inequality, so they get boxy brackets on each of those, not round brackets. And for the graph, we draw the x number line, we draw the negative 6, the smaller number, and then the 2, and we shade everything in between, and we use boxy brackets because we're including negative 6 and 2. So our answer is all these values that we've shown here, all values of x in the solution satisfy the given inequality. Absolute value of 1/2 x plus 1 is less than or equal to 2. And if you don't believe me, grab any number between negative 6 and 2, including negative 6 or 2, plug them in there, and you'll see that it satisfies the inequality.